Ford Mustang TT4.
Dominant fashion, highly glad.
Yeah! Jeremy Clement! Area 51 podcast. This is Cap Houston right here. Bobby, what you got for me?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Bobby. It is episode 64 of the Area 51 Racing Podcast. Tonight, we got Dave. How you doing, man?
Doing good, Bobby. How are you, man?
Good. Absolutely cold as hell here. We went from 75 to 44, so we're supposed to start getting the increase again. We'll be in the 80s hopefully by Saturday. So
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit chilly at 64 right now, so
you're always rubbing it in just a little bit.
I had to go put my sweatshirt on, man. I'm sorry.
So tonight we have Brandon, we got Keyston. What's up, guys?
You can call it. Can you call it, Brandon?
Tonight we are doing the round table. It's brought to you by Fly Inform Concrete Structures. It's pretty much gonna be a Brandon, Keyston, Dave, and Bobby round table. Rob, we wish you were here. Hope things get better. I believe next week Rob has surgery, so he may or may not be able to be here. But Brandon, Keyston, I don't know which one wants to start first, but tell us what you guys have been up to in 2025.
And if any of our viewers have any questions for the over the wall guys, ring in and we'll be more than happy to share it with you.
Oh, Brandon, I'll let you kick it off, man.
Me, man.
Heck yeah, the hair gel. Look at that, dude.
No, I just got out of the shower. It's been a long day.
I just finished mowing, so bad hair day for me. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I'll try to remember the last time I was on the show. Wasn't too long ago, I'd say.
It was season 2, episode 51. We were on with Jeff Bodine.
That's right. So yeah, little bits happened since. So I decided to break out the Area 51 shirt because I literally have not wore this since the day I got it from you guys. So which is kind of odd because I've definitely been on the show since.
Michigan. I can tell you exactly what happened that day.
Yeah.
It freaking downpoured.
Yeah.
We were all in the holler, and we're all holding up the shirts trying to take a picture, and it's thunder, lightning. We're like, this race is not going through.
But it did though.
Yeah,
it did. I mean, I wouldn't have complained too bad if we ended up getting an extra day, but that's okay. So I've been let me think. I got man, kind of drawing a blank here, thinking about where I was at last time. I know I was pitting GT4 cars and all, still doing that, and trying to swing back towards the NASCAR side. I think I started missing NASCAR quite a bit. I mean, the other stuff is fun, but road racing's fun. There's a lot in it. It requires a lot more knowledge, in my opinion, specifically about the cars and whatnot. Not to say you don't have to have knowledge of the cars in NASCAR. It's so the pit stops are more, I guess, competitive in NASCAR, but on the road course side, the stops might not be like as fast and flashy and cool or whatever, if you want to use that word, but they're very methodical. The adjustments that they make there aren't like in NASCAR where you just shove a wrench in the back window and give it a couple cranks. It's a whole different deal there. But there's something that just feels like it's missing since I haven't been as involved in NASCAR. So started practicing again over at Nice. I've been working with them, and also decided to kind of branch out and into the mechanic side a little bit more and start uh, learning the different cars a little more in depth. So I started working for a man named Stanton Barrett, who's a great guy. Uh, Heard a lot about him before I went over there, but he runs everything from uh, trucks with on point. You heard of them? The 30 truck. He runs Xfinity, a lot of vintage series. He has older Volvos, 60s Volvos, like old steel body, really cool stuff. So he runs a lot of different stuff there. So I decided that's kind of where I wanted to be. He offered me a decent number to come over there and work for him. So that's what I've been doing lately. During the week, working for him, helping him get his cars race ready, and then practicing pit stops Tuesday and Wednesday right after work. And then I get home about this time, and that's why I'm like, wet and eating dinner while we're doing this. But yeah,
Stanton Barrett, that's the guy that drove the 60 car, right?
yes,
That's what I thought.
yep, same guy. He also apparently is a movie director too. The guy dabbles in so much, but
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Speaking my language now.
he's okay. So he directed he directed a B film, like a comedic action B film called Navy SEALs versus Zombies. You
Oh,
might have seen it pop up on Netflix or something, but it's yeah, it's funny.
that's
It's
it.
supposed to be a B movie. It's not supposed to be like anything crazy, but the fact that he's doing race cars and directing movies and whatnot, it's impressive. He has ambitions.
Yeah. I mean, that's important to have. I'm just learning because I think Bobby, you may know, but I went to film school, Brandon. I probably told you about that too. So I
Mhm.
have a degree in, and I'm just learning like Wilmington has one of like the largest film studios in the country, and they have a lot of people flood in from all over the place to film there. So that's pretty cool, man. That's a fun fact.
What's new with you, Keyston?
Oh man, it's not new, but new in this year fighting allergies, as you probably can hear. Pollen is flying high, but
It's hurting people.
huh?
It's hurting people.
I'm telling you, man, I need to. I don't know. I need to get back to my natural remedies. The honey, eating the honeycomb, stuff like that. So things of that nature, because Allegra D isn't always going to work like that. But anyway. Outside of that sadness, man, just well, obviously outside of us racing, Brandon and doing that stuff. Man, got a new home at the end of December. So just stepped into that responsibility. It's new for me. Going from renting for 7 years to actually owning something, owning some property. So that's a nuance in my life, and it's fun. It's cool. I tell people, I feel like I'm actually grown now. I'm actually paying bills, I have a mortgage and, things like that. Obviously car, but to me, purchasing a home is probably going to be one of the biggest purchases you ever have in your life. So, big step for me, but I'm thankful for it. I'm
Big.
blessed in my situation to, be able to sustain that and have the capital to maintain it. So, like I said, other than racing and trying to win every weekend, yeah, stepped into a little bit more of some ownership. So that's how my life is going, man. You know,
Homeowner, Mr. France.
man, I'm telling you, dude. Next thing, getting married, right? Having kids. You know about that, Brandon.
I do. I think we talked about that.
So yeah, man, that's all a blessing too. So yeah. Yeah, that's how my life's going, Mr. Peters. Mr.
And
Henderson.
nothing really new here. Uh,
Yeah.
besides for the cold weather.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Hey, listen, I love snow. It doesn't snow enough here for me. It's cold enough, but it doesn't snow enough. It snowed this year, but it didn't stay. So, I'm not I'm happy, but I'm not happy. So, like, I want to step my foot in something, feel the crunch beneath my feet, you know. So,
Dave, how do you feel about that snow?
I absolutely enjoy it. With every ounce of my being, subarctic conditions, for 6 months out of the year is definitely my cup of tea. If I could live in a beautiful place again like Michigan, I would move back in a heartbeat.
No, you would not.
I am lying through my freaking teeth.
No kid.
Yeah, yeah.
well,
I was just saying that,
what
I've
part of
succeeded.
Michigan?
What's that?
I mean to talk over you, but what part of Michigan?
I was born and raised right outside of Detroit.
Okay.
And then later on in life, I moved to the southwest corner right off Lake Michigan, right
Okay.
above South Bend, Indiana, where University of Notre Dame's at.
Huh, gotcha. Go
So,
Irish.
come on, man.
Go Irish.
I bleed maize and blue, son. Come on
Oh,
now.
no, 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 no. Go Big Blue too. I mean, I love those schools, man. Those are great programs, running yeah, great programs. I've been on the campus of Michigan before, for a tennis tournament back in my tennis playing days. So yeah, man. Beautiful campus, beautiful campus. So
So, Brandon, you were on Keyston's show, uh, what, a
uh,
couple weeks ago?
All right. Yep.
the podcast.
The
Eh,
podcast.
It's not just Keyston show. It's Keyston, Courtney, and Cam.
there you go.
Yeah, we sprayed it out. Yeah.
But if you guys have not watched that, you guys really need to watch it because Brandon went in depth on his military background and all that, and it was amazing. I didn't know half the stuff that he said, and I was like glued to my phone. And Adrian's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Here." So I
Yeah.
put it on my laptop, and we watched it.
I appreciate that. That's a lot of stuff I haven't thought about in a lot of years, and because I mean honestly it doesn't feel like it's been a decade,
Yeah. Yeah.
but when you start looking back on things and how it affected my life and all moving forward, yeah, I mean it's a little tough to talk about sometimes, I think, but it does some good, when I do finally kind of sit down and just let it out, it takes me back through it mentally, not really in a bad way, just uh being able to remember a lot of those things because
Mhm.
I have a lot of like memory issues and stuff from dating back to those events. So it's when I start talking about it, those little things kind of start coming back to me, a little bit of it. And if I were to sit here and try to tell you the whole story right now, I probably couldn't. And things get blurred, and I might have got a couple things mixed up. But I was driving home from that showing, and thought about a couple other things. I was like, dang, I forgot to bring that up. I forgot to talk about that. But yeah, it comes with it. I enjoyed being on there, enjoyed talking about it. Maybe a few years down the road we can kind of go back over it again. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe it's time for Brandon Henry to write a book.
Oh boy, they wouldn't know what genre to put it under.
It's all right. Hey, listen, as long as it sells, that's what matters.
Dude, horror, tragedy, comedy, whatever, everything.
That's sci-fi.
Sci-fi. Yeah.
Little drama. No, man, that was cool. It was cool having you on there because, like I mentioned, as long as I've been around you and worked with you and all that, I never really asked you about it and you never really talked about it. So it's always good to do a deep dive into someone's life, you know.
Yeah.
Hot Ones took this idea, but I love it when I don't know if you guys ever seen that show, the show with the hot
Yep.
wings and the
Definitely.
questions. And I hate hot foods, but if I ever was offered to do that, I would do it. And I kind
Oh,
of don't have, yeah, I kind of don't have respect for him because he hasn't done anything NASCAR based or racing based yet. But hey, I let him eat, right? I let him cook, as the young kids say nowadays, right? But they do a deep dive into like the social media, and I like how he does it because he waits till you get to about level 5 out of 10 hot, and he's like, "Hey, so what about this picture? You know, tell me about that." And it's
you're
like
crying, can't see the picture.
you coughing and this, that, and the third, man. So goodness grief, man. But I like that, man. It's always good to know more about people. I know our next guest we're gonna have. So check it out, guys, if you're interested. But we got a guy who drove the Gravedigger for over 10, 15 years.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, he actually works for Penske in PR.
Of course.
Uh, and so yeah, yeah, man. But he did that for almost 20 years, and so to me that's cool because that was my favorite monster truck growing up. Gravedigger, huge Gravedigger fan, right? No, I'm not a
Straight
bandwagon.
out of Killsdevil, North Carolina.
Yeah,
Here comes Gravedigger.
I'm
The
telling you, man.
red eyes start to flash up. Oh,
It's
I can
ridiculous.
remember it like it was yesterday.
I didn't realize how big those freaking things were.
Yeah,
Well,
Like,
they are legit monster trucks.
I'd
It's
probably
a
still walk upright underneath one.
well, no. So I always watched them on TV, and then they came to Toledo, and we happened to go down, and I'm like, holy batshit, these things are huge.
yeah. Yeah, no, Morgan Kane. I don't know if that name is familiar to you guys, but he was one that drove for a long time. And like I said, tune in to know what else he talked about. But anyway, no, him and then it's another kid, man, that actually raced trucks. I can see his face right now. I think he drives the Pirate Curse. Um, Camden, something Camden. But anyway, yeah, a couple guys that know that's been in that world. So, and it takes a toll on their body, from what I'm told. You know, I mean, it's just beating and
Yeah.
banging, dude. But it'll be a cool deal, cool talk. So, yeah, can't wait to come out with that one. But heck yeah, Brandon, man, that was a good deal, man. That was a good deal.
Was the actually I left out a pretty significant story, and I thought about it on the podcast. I was like, I'll probably see if I can, maybe if I ever revisit the show, I could tell that story. But I could tell it now. The so while I was still in the Marine Corps, I actually had a run-in with the police that
Ha.
didn't go very well. I don't know if I've told either one of any of y'all this yet or not, but uh, so for validity's sake, you can Google it and find the articles and stuff. But I was uh, I was married at the time and had so my ex-wife, she had lupus and this autoimmune disorder. So people that have lupus, like you get a cold, it's bad. It could be life threatening depending on if it's treating or not. Um, and so she had a cold,
Mhm.
and I'm sitting there playing GTA or whatever, which didn't influence the events after this. But I was sitting there playing, and she comes in, crying and stuff, and clearly in bad shape. She had been in bed all day sick, and she fell and just passed out. So when she hit the ground, it busted her face up pretty good. And I am only about 2.5 weeks removed from Afghanistan. I'd only been home a couple weeks. And so instead of doing the logical thing and call an ambulance, I scooped her up and threw her in the car. I just paid a unnecessarily high amount of money for a Whipple supercharger setup and tuner on my 2014 Mustang GT. So the thing would scoot. So I took off towards base and was going to take her to the Naval Hospital. Got up near the gate, realized I forgot my military ID, so I spun around to take her to Onslow Memorial Hospital, which is not far down the road. But as I came off base, you have to go down the highway maybe about half a mile before you can make a U-turn and go back the direction of the hospital. Apparently, in doing that, I passed a Jacksonville police officer, not knowing it, and so he pulled out and I guess put it out over the radio that I was hauling tail, and
Need for speed, man.
yeah, it was
You
it was
had
not
to
a
do
good
it.
situation.
Had to do it though. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I didn't. That's the worst part, but I did anyway. Um, so an officer was coming the opposite way down the highway, and he decided to cross the median to try to block the road. And when he stopped in the middle of the road, I hit the brake, I slowed down, and I was like, no, I'm gonna go around him, and I'm gonna get to the hospital and deal with whatever consequences come after that. I'll deal with them then. So I go to drive around his car, and he gets out and he starts shooting. And one of the bullets impacted not far behind her head, entered the C pillar, and one came through the windshield and hit me in the shoulder.
Why would, well, I mean, I don't know. I
That
have
is,
so many questions. I mean, I
yeah,
understand you're probably driving dangerously, and again, you had to
yep,
get to where you need to get to, but did it warrant for him to have to shoot? Okay, go
yeah.
ahead.
Entered there, cut it out down here later. The
Mm.
bullet went in and it stayed there. Um, so I got down the road a little ways, and I was kind of trying to piece together what happened, because the adrenaline's up and you're not thinking right. And so I come to a stop, and I get out of the car, and he comes pulling up behind me. He gets out, starts yelling. So I'm like, man, this looks bad, because she's unconscious in the car with her face all busted up. Uh, I'm now part of a officer involved shooting. Like, this could only go badly for me, you know. Um, so I just laid on the ground and waited. And his partner, I only remember her first name being Ashley. I wish I would have could find what her last name is so I could at least thank her, because she came up and put a tourniquet on me and covered me up because it was like 16 degrees. It was like the night before Thanksgiving, actually.
Hey,
So they put me in the ambulance. I actually have, I'll send them to you guys later, but I have a lot of the pictures and stuff that the police took that night when I was being transported from the car to the ambulance. And I got put in the hospital, cops everywhere, taking statements, and wouldn't let me move or go anywhere. And so they cleaned the bullet wound and sent me to jail. Bullet still in there and everything. And I spent the next period of time, I can't remember, it might have been a couple months, spent a decent amount of time in jail on a medical lockdown because I had a bullet in my shoulder.
goodness.
And so I only got 1 hour out of my cell a day. So I was just sitting in a white box for a long time and not really knowing for sure what was going to happen. My ex, bless her heart, called a pretty good lawyer by the name of Michael Searles. I believe he's actually a judge now out there, but he went to work and got the dash camera footage and everything. So the officer, when he opened fire, he was claiming that I was going to try to run him over, and that was his defense. So that wasn't true, and the dash camera showed that. And the other officer by the name of Ashley actually testified that she didn't feel like she was in danger of being hit, and she was closer to my car than he was. So that whole thing perspired, and I got out of jail. we had a hearing and they showed the dash camera and everything, and then the judge was more or less like, I don't think there's really anything else to talk about here, so I went back to my unit, which they tried to punish me too, because I mean, at the end of the day, I did still run from a police officer. Like, that's a felony, you know. Luckily, that was knocked down to a misdemeanor, because that could have really screwed my life up big time. And they took my license for 5 years, so I couldn't drive at all. So yeah, that's about the gist of it. That's that's another part of my life I don't think about too often, but
Yeah.
one of those stepping stones. It's been a rough road.
Now, did the ex-wife make it through okay?
Yeah, she made it through fine.
Good. She probably got out of the hospital faster than you got out of jail, I'm hoping.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were talking about taking her too, but I mean, you couldn't charge her with nothing, so didn't do anything.
Yes.
If she's knocked out in the passenger seat.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was talks that there were officers that believed that she was faking it, despite the that she was part of it or whatever, which is great, because the other option was that I did all of that, and and then more charges get packed on. So I'm glad that was the story they were suspecting, which she would have been able to squash anyway, the other one. But regardless, yeah, that was something.
Dang, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you saved me for this show.
Yeah, I was gonna say I knew about the bullet wound because you kind of briefed it in Pocono, but I didn't realize that was the whole transpire.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm glad it didn't end a whole lot differently, because I mean,
Yeah, no kidding.
a couple more inches and you never know.
At any point in time, it could have. I'm blessed for sure, because there's at any point in time in that exchange, it could have gone very badly. I mean, he could have hit and killed me. He could have killed her. Hell, I could have accidentally hit him or his partner. Could have been a lot worse had they convicted me of that, and say there was no dash camera. Say the dash camera got deleted or something. After they realized they messed up. Let's be honest, it happens. Had that happened and they convicted me, then I would have gotten out of jail. What is today? Yeah, I would have got out of prison a year ago, and this happened in 2014. So,
that's nuts.
And there would have been no NASCAR career.
Goodness, man.
You take the wins when you can.
Yeah. And you know how I come, man. I mean, hey, by the grace of God, man. I mean, he sees way ahead of time before we even have a clue what may or may not happen, and has it all planned out. Even if it would have went the other way, not with you getting killed or anything, or she getting killed, but you be in jail, like, it's still a blessing out of that too, also. So I mean, but thankfully not. And you're able to hit 5 on and 5 off, or 5 off and 5 on, instead of drawing on the walls and
Sitting in prison, yeah.
yeah. So
Speaking of 5 on, 5 off, either one of you guys going to the Rock this weekend?
I'll be there.
Yeah, you be pitting over at Rockingham, hopefully.
I don't know if I'm pitting or not yet. Right now, there's I'm strictly in a part-time basis, mainly because I wanted to keep those that IMSA schedule committed, and that could change. It's kind of rocky right now, so that could change. We'll see, but I'm kind of I'm on call right now, I guess is what you would say.
Now, I had heard rumors, because it's Rockingham, hadn't been used, or at least pit lane hadn't been used a whole lot. Are they planning on doing active stops
As far as I
at
know.
Rockingham?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was one of the things, me and one of my guys at work who's just a casual NASCAR fan. I was like, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if they're gonna set it up like the All-Star race where, the because nobody knows really what's gonna happen this weekend. Because I've been down here, what, 8 years, and I've never heard anybody like professionally racing over at Rockingham.
I heard the pit road is really narrow. Um, and I know the track is probably going to be super gripped up from all the new pavement. I'm sure NASCAR will screw around with it and try to make it more than it is. I don't know, in terms of entertainment, I guess. See if they can mess around and try to get the racing more, less single file. But I think it's probably going to end up being similar to what we saw at Wilkesboro when they repaved that, and it was very, very gripped up, so people just rode around the bottom. Hopefully not, but that would be my guess. I think. Keaton, are you going to just take your week off?
Yeah, I was looking at some details on Rockingham because for me, I don't think Rockingham is in that crazy bad of a shape like North Wilkesboro. And even though it hasn't been raced on in what who know how long since Ricky Bobby was running around in his underwear.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's too bad. But yeah, they're giving us this week off, and I've thought about it, but I'm just gonna rest probably this weekend. Go to church because we really don't get to do that. We do at the track, motor racing outreach, but
Mhm.
get to go, go to service. I may go back home up to Virginia, Denny Hamlin's country, Chesterfield area, and enjoy time with my mom and dad. But definitely will be tuning into it. I wish. Well, I mean, probably next year. They'll, the cup side will be there because I don't get to do the other series anymore. That's only cup day, which has its pros and cons because I enjoy actually doing all of the series in my opinion. But you, you take your wins when you can, right, Brandon? So, but yeah, so now I'm just gonna chillax and stuff like that and enjoy the time we have off because I think we're just straight going after this.
Yeah, this is
Penske
your
does
guys'
real,
only week off.
yeah, Penske does real good with giving us some time off because I know like obviously this is the legit off bye week, but with Talladega coming up for us changers, they usually allow us to kind of take a chill pill that week, focus in on the gas man, and then we may come in once next week or something like that. But yeah, no, I'm gonna be relaxing. It's hard for me actually to do that. I'm probably gonna be doing stuff. I'm gonna rest. Gonna rest. That's a commandment from God to rest. So I'm gonna rest. But you know us, we like to work and just have fun, stay active, stay busy, stay doing something.
Got to be
You
moving.
know, so yeah, but I do love sleeping in when I can.
He'll be changing the car tires or something at the house.
Oh well, yeah, if I need to, yeah. Get that air gun out. It definitely doesn't run at what is it, 400 pounds or whatnot, 300 pounds. So yeah, but it'll get the job done. Yeah.
Now, Keaton, being on Sundays, what did you? Because a lot of people saw it. A lot of people saw it online. They did a lot pre-race. The difference between practice and then your first pit stop, and throwing off those tires and not seeing the tire wear that you guys saw at practice.
Right.
What was the difference there? You think?
As a pit crewman, our jobs are pretty somewhat the same. Are you talking about as into like the seeing the wear of the tires or just like the
Right, because you're obviously the first one that sees it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even looking at the tire that deeply unless it's that obvious. So
Okay,
you get a hub and a nut and don't lose it and make sure it's tight so you don't get suspended. Again,
gotcha.
for me, at least you know. But once we're done with our little 8 to 10 seconds worth of work, looking at the tire, they weren't. We obviously it was very hot. The temperatures were pretty similar to I think was it last fall or spring. But anyway, we had planned, the crew I was with, we had planned for a 10 to 11 stop day, which I didn't quite believe that because honestly, I hadn't experienced something that crazy since they had the tire issues in 2022. I think the night race, and I was with Harrison Burton on 21 when I think we went 5 or 6 laps and we blew tires, right?
Right.
So, I Bristol can be intense, but I didn't think it was going to be that intense. But anyway, that's what we were planning for when we did the first stop. Our crew chief checked the tires out. We thought it was going to be cording. We thought they were going to be corded, and it was just going to be a rough deal. But it actually didn't respond the way that they had thought it would respond. So we ended up going from, let's say, doing 10 to 11, maybe fulfilling our allotment. I think it was, well, actually 11 sets. We had 10, 9 or 10, getting others from somewhere else, to it being a 4-stop day with a 2 tire mixed in there, at least for us, right?
Right.
And so that was like, holy fudge. But I wasn't too surprised about it, though. I mean, Bristol, I mean, you want to put freshy stickers on there as often as you can with Bristol, but I mean, it's just, I never thought it as it being like a Coke 600 daggone, you know what I mean? Or like a Darlington, like I just didn't pit wise, intensity wise, but we were prepared for anything and whatnot. And hey, 4 stops or so made it a little easier for us. I didn't really buy into the 2 tire deal. I know track position is key there. But when we called for a 2 tire, I was like, we came out pretty well, but I mean, we dropped back pretty quickly. But then we didn't have the car either like that. So, but anyway, yeah, no. Again, we were I was kind of shocked by maybe how much it didn't tear up the tires. But then again, like I said, hey, 4 stops, I'll take that over 10 to 11, which is what we were planning for, you know.
That was gonna be one of my next questions if Bobby didn't have anything is, for a question for both of you guys, obviously Brandon runs the IMSA series, so he's used to a little bit of relaxed time unless there's an emergency. But say like the Coke 600 where we run, or they run, damn near caution free, except for stage breaks. What do you do for an hour in between pit stops?
Put on my thumbs. I don't know. I was gonna let you respond, Brandon, but no, I honestly just stay locked in because you can so easily there's days on off, and then next thing you know, you come in for a stop, and some guys are better than others, but me, I just stay kind of pretty locked in, pretty in tune with whatever's being said on the radio, listening to my driver, listening to everything he's complaining about, everything he's saying that it's good, listening to the crew chief, because all of that can apply to, what style of stop we're going to do, obviously, or maybe if like I may need to prepare for him coming in. I mean, driver complaining, I need grip, or I can't, like I don't have any turn or whatever. Like all of that can correlate to what's going on with the tires or the setup or what adjustments need to be made. So me, I'm really tunnel vision, and it's bad because we were in Vegas this year, and I was so tunnel vision. And Brandon, we talked about this on our show, on the show we did, about how like when the car comes in, we don't hear the car at all. I was laughing actually this past weekend, Bristol being the loudest of places, right? That car came in, I didn't hear a darn thing. I didn't hear anything. I just saw what I was doing. But man, I was so locked in to everything that was happening. I look up and I'm like, man, when did the 21 car like get to the lead? And how did he get that big of a lead? Because I'm so focused on what my car is doing, where we're at, what I need to do, making sure I'm running through everything, staying loose. I love my Theragun. Staying loose, stretching, during shadow boxing, doing the motions, whatever, and this and then okay, that's where I'm at, right? Some guys they'll say, they'll say, "Hey, wait a minute, what is that? Look at that bird, look at the plane," and oh, pit stop, boom, they can go right into it. Me, I can do it, but it's like I just have to stay locked in because, you know, in the situations I face, you want to keep your car where it needs to be. So, I mean, I think with any of us too, like Ian and Brandon can contest to this too, man. It's like, our job is to service the car and get him back out there, right? Get him back out there. Hopefully in the position he was in or better, but it can sound maybe easy, but I mean, listen, you can take a super speedway race, which is pretty relaxed, if you will, relaxed, and you can go and screw that up, right? Easily. So yeah, I'm full steam ahead here, So yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I've never done like a Coke 600 or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, Bobby, you've been, behind the wall with me a couple times. I do a lot of walking around, trying to keep myself
Yeah.
moving, and if I sit and I could sit and pick apart every part of a pit stop that I didn't do right, every time, and or I felt was a little slow, or I could tweak, or because every time I come back over the wall after we re-secure and clean everything, I'm looking at the stop on my phone, and then I get up and I start walking around, and I turn my radio up a little bit more so that I can hear everything more, more clearly. Because I mean, especially somewhere like Bristol, like you can't even take your gloves off sometimes, because
Yeah.
especially like this past weekend,
Yeah.
we were I was installed. Oh boy, where was I? I think I was installed. I think it was 14. No, it was regardless. It was the second stall on our side of the speedway. So if he blows a tire in turn one, he's coming to us right away. And you have maybe 10 seconds to be on the wall with tires ready to go, and that's hard to do sometimes. And you see a lot of guys. You can go back and watch any short track race and see that happen. Guys struggling to get out there. You can tell they're a little behind, and it happens. But I try to avoid that as much as I can. So I stay moving. I stay listening to the radio. Try not to do anything crazy. Like if I like, for example, you really got to go to the bathroom. There are a lot of tracks like Bristol that don't have like a porta john right there you can jump into. So you got
Yeah.
to walk halfway across the track. Bristol's not far, but it doesn't matter. It's not an option for you now. You can't. You're just gonna hold it, man.
Yeah.
But on the road racing side, obviously it's different. I'd say IMSA, like Michelin Pilot, doing the same thing, staying loose, listening to the radio. It's a little bit more relaxed, but those races are usually around 3 or 4 hours, so it's not far off from NASCAR in that sense. But somewhere like the WRL series where you're running an 8-hour race, and if I just did a pit stop and the driver runs back out there and he doesn't feel any issues or anything, I'll go get food. I'll walk a quarter mile to get food. So
Golly.
you can do that. Sometimes you can take a nap. There's a picture of me taking a nap at Circuit Americas when we won. So it's two different disciplines.
Now, let's talk about that wreck on Saturday with Cole Custer and who was it, Brendan Poole?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen anything like that where it's just disintegrated the whole entire side at Bristol?
Not at Bristol, but I saw, if you remember, who was it? In that truck series a couple of years ago, somebody got hit in the door similar to that. Well, not even really. It was more like a T-bone, and it tore the foam and everything out of the side of the truck. And it wasn't so much of like a disintegration, but it did hurt the driver. And in this instance, the driver, to my knowledge, neither one got hurt, or at least they didn't admit it. So
I think they both said they got the wind knocked out of them just because they weren't braced.
yeah,
They had already relaxed, thinking that everything was all right.
yeah. That's the thing about Bristol. You're coming, people make the ARCA brakes joke, a lot, and that's because they've never driven around a fishbowl, in a stock car before. Like, I don't, I don't blame, Brendan if that was him. I don't blame him for, you have that tunnel vision, that focus, and in the same sense that we don't hear the car when we're doing a pit stop or something, and you don't see the other cars around you most of the time. He's focused on driving the car in a very demanding racetrack, one of the more demanding racetracks. Yeah, I mean, he's coming off the corner, and what can you do besides lay on the brake and try not to hit the guy? He did pretty much, I think, everything you could do right there,
And
and
they
still hit.
said it was something like 20 yards is what he had between coming
Yeah,
off the corner and nailing them. It was 20 yards.
yeah, there's
And
no way.
no, and you could see a couple of the guys, get high, get low. A
Mm.
couple of them, went sideways, towards the inside wall and catch it. And he was just the one that happened to lock up the brakes. And I don't know if that's inexperience on his behalf or just saw it a fraction of a second too late. Because that's
Looking
really
at
what it is, isn't it? It's fractions.
looking at it, it looked like the other two drivers that missed him. It looked like one of them was just around the bottom and didn't plan on using the track up to the top, and the other one had a high entry and a low exit, so he was going to miss him probably regardless, or had a better chance of it. And Brennan looked like he was having a very high exit, and when you're coming up off the bottom trying to float to the wall, there's only so much you can do. You can't break that momentum. Like, even if he did have superhuman reflexes, the car wouldn't do what you want. You can't. The car couldn't have physically have missed. It's a racing thing.
They said Garrett Smithley missed him by like an inch.
Yeah,
Is he the one that went high in between him and
No, he went right across the nose of
oh,
Custer.
okay.
he looked like he was probably going to stick to the bottom anyway.
But if he would have hit him, it would have spun him, and then Brendan Poole would have smoked him regardless.
Yeah, there are some times you just can't. You can't. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
Could he have? Could did the spotter tell him, ahead of time? Maybe he didn't hear him. Like you said, that tunnel vision. Maybe the spotter was focused on his car and didn't catch that Colt was sitting there. It could be a million different things. So you chalk it up to, hey, it's racing. You're going to crash sometimes. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Did you catch it, Keaston?
I didn't. I was asleep.
Oh, he is napping.
I did not. And I've been, well, yeah, I usually do highlights and I always usually catch radioactives. I love that little segment they do on YouTube,
Yeah.
but I kind of fallen behind a little bit. So anyway, but no, I did not. And I know it sounds crazy, but that just for me, like now, like I've just been so tunnel vision at what series I'm doing, where I'm going. And there's nothing wrong with watching other series, man, by all means. But me, in these recent times, I've just like I get into it where it's like on Saturdays, it's like that pre-race prep day, and I'm just resting and just kind of I kind of flip it. I'm thinking about NASCAR, but I'm not really watching it. I'm just thinking about, okay, where did we qualify? What stall are we in? What am I going to deal with? Right. I have a list I made. Actually, I've had this for a while, but it has all of the track. You can't really see it. It has all the tracks with the length and width of the stalls and things like that. Some updating I have to do with that. What are pit road speeds? So I'm really like just inner channeling like what needs to be done for Sunday. All right. And I know that sounds so bad because again, there's nothing wrong with watching races and stuff like as part but I usually have it off and just figuring out, okay, what do we need to do? Right.
That's part of being a professional. It's has nothing to do with not appreciating the racing.
Yeah. I hear about it, but it's like, okay, cool. what do we got to do today? And again, everyone's different, right? I mean, shucks, man, shucks. Watch the race. I'm a fan. Like 'cause sometimes my dad would call and be like, "Man, did you see that? Did you?" I was like, not really. But it's like, yeah, maybe I'm just too much on the other side of it. But yeah, it's just that's how my brain usually works. The day before a race. Really Friday and Saturday, but Friday I'm a little bit more open. But Saturday it's like, all right, what the heck I gotta deal with here? And I think Chiefs they do a good job at sending us their game plan post qualifying via text, and I make notes, things like that. What are the setups? What did I see in the setup this week? Things like that. What could I expect? What could change? Things like that. So anyway, yeah, I'm boring. I'm sorry, guys.
No, another question that I wanted to ask is, you guys can pull the cars to the back now and actually fix them.
Good gosh, Daddy.
Uh,
Who
you know,
can?
Hey,
what's your guys' take on that? Because obviously, you guys are out there changing tires, but at the same point in time, you're meeting him halfway through, and pushing.
Right. Are you talking about is it like in reference to pushing the car to the garage or like?
Well, are you guys the ones that are wrenching on them once they get back to the shop? Because
Oh
I mean,
no, they don't allow us to touch
they're
that.
like, no, they don't want me
Well,
touching that
it's
car.
not that we can't do it, right?
Right.
But they're like in Brandon. I mean, you can say so. I mean, it may be different with IMSA and stuff like that, but at least in the stock car racing, it's like you guys have your one job, you focus on that. We have our one job, we focus on that, right? It's not like they'll try to do a pit stop. Not saying they couldn't, but it's like that's what you guys do. You do that. Maybe help get it back to the garage, and we'll take care of it from there. But that's the beauty of having a lot of people on a team, right? I mean,
Well,
Brandon.
that's the one thing I think the viewers outside,
Mhm.
don't see is there's a whole nother group of guys,
Yeah.
that are still in the trailer, you know, that are ready to work on the car at any given time.
Oh yeah, most certainly, most certainly.
They don't go home after
No,
qualifying, after they've already set the car up.
no, most times not, especially the smaller base teams, who have more or less amount of people to work on the car. At places like a Penske or like your Big Five or Power Five or six or seven, however many is in there now. They'll hire enough people to, hey, you work on the fronts, rears, you work underneath wise, you work on the engine, you the interior guy, right? You're the guy that decals the car, even though there's a lot of teams hire like, the decaling companies. But they'll when you get to these levels, they have someone for literally every corner of the car, right? Not all of them don't travel. You have your core group that'll travel, right? That'll maybe work on something that one guy worked on at the shop, but it gets so detailed, so detailed. And yeah, you do your job. Because I mean, like there have been some moments where like, okay, for instance, when I was at Ganassi, right? I was building interiors on the 42 and on the one, and I was also pitting too, right? When you go to certain organizations, Canassi allowed me to do it. But when you go to certain organizations, they're like, no, you're not doing that. Because like some pit crew guys are just milking and working the pit department or whatever. It's like if you're pitting full time, you do just that, right? That's what we're paying you the big bucks to do. So you focus on that. We don't need you over here scrubbing the NACA. You know what I mean? When you're not practicing, we need your head focused on, freaking gas in the car or whatever, so
Yeah, I think that was a big question. Like, I know my dad asked was, is the guy that's changing, say for instance, right rear tire, is that the same guy that's fixing the toe link, when it gets sideways up in the wall? I had to tell him, I'm like, I have no idea, Dad. I know the guy that's taking off the tire is observing everything, and he'll probably get the right guy out there. I
yeah.
said, I don't know if they switched like that.
No, because again, even though the guy, I may know how to do that, right? You have a guy that can do it twice as fast because he works on it every day, right?
Gotcha.
So we need speed because we are not trying to get lapped. We're not trying to get, we have a clock we usually have to go by. We're trying to get it done quickly. So you don't need me in there fiddling around and then I don't know, it may be a three-quarter wrench or something, and I'm going through half, eighth. I don't know, but this guy knows exactly because he helped build it. He helped build the shocks. Like he knows exactly what it takes to turn that, this, that, and the third. And so yeah, they don't waste time with that. The only thing that I've done and that they would allow us to do is adjust the shock height, adjust the shock height, right? Or do Packers,
Like
or
put Packers and stuff in. Yeah.
Packers spring rubbers on this new Gen 5,
Packers.
just the height. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, at that point too, if you're doing all that stuff, like you kind of pretty far off. So it's like speed may not be that big of a concern. So you know. I mean, sometimes though, I will say this too. I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you go, Brandon. But it's like if a team still wants speed, like the bigger teams, like we've had to deal with, like putting it in our mouth or it not being a pull tab and you burning your arm, and the rubber isn't greased up, it isn't cut out to where we could just rip it out. Like the bigger teams would do that just in case they had to do it on the fly, right? We could just whip it out, or they have something we put it in, blah, 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 and tell us, hey, color, like look for this color when you pull the tire off. That's where you place that packer. At least that's what I've dealt with. Or like spring rubber is cut out, so when you just go in, you can just whoop, rip it out, boom. But man, dude, most times, like they don't prep that stuff, man. So when they're making those calls, you're far off and you're in there struggling to get the spring rubber out, or you're struggling to pull the packer out and you're sitting on the freaking rotor. So I think I still have those marks. Maybe they might have gone away. But definitely, like in there trying to reach for a freaking packer, man. But anyway, and your suit doesn't fit. But I'm not gonna go into that. All right. I'm not gonna do that. The sleeves are too short, like fudge. Yeah. It's good to know it though. It's good to know that because and it's good to appreciate what they do, right? I will tell you this, man, and I'm telling you, me and Brandon both can say this, man. Working in the shop opens your eyes up to the amount of time and hours and effort and blood, sweat, and tears that they actually put into that stuff. A lot of the young guys that are coming in, and it's not their fault, just to pit race cars, they don't get it. They don't understand. Listen, take care of the pit box, like it looks nice and great, and you have Penske and they'll maintain it for you. They'll rebuild it, sand it, and sandblast it and everything for you. But take care of that stuff because they put a lot of time into it while we're off on Mondays. They're fixing our mistakes, right? It allows you to really appreciate the hours they put into it. And listen, I go into the shop and tell the guys thanks. Like we have a guy at our practice that drills the holes in the tires so that we can have a smooth, consistent feel when we're going through our motions, right? I tell that guy every single time, thank you. Like, I really appreciate you, man. I said, I know I'm getting on your nerves, but I really appreciate you because, they don't have to do that. So anyway, yeah, man, it's yeah, but no, they don't usually let us work on this stuff. They got somebody to do that a lot faster,
Now, I know I'm talking to you a whole bunch, and Brandon, we'll get to you in just a minute. Obviously,
Brandon can answer too, but go ahead.
right. Brandon's got lug nuts glued to his helmet.
Yeah.
Now you brought up the fact that what if I lose one?
Mhm.
You got one on you?
Yeah, we have it attached to us somewhere. Usually
Okay.
it changes on our hip somewhere. I know I've been in instances where I zip tie it. I don't really like that idea. But
Gotcha.
most times we have a magnet device on our belt that will hold that lug nut in whatever position we find it comfortable.
Okay.
Right? So I'm gonna do it on the left side. I'll do it on my right because I'm thinking, all right, if I lose a lug nut, okay, I can rip it off, switch my button, pop it on there, and then go. Right? Some guys they don't like feeling it there, and so they'll put it there and whatever, and they'll rip it across and then bam. But yeah, it's attached to our body, just in a different spot, not on our helmet.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't remember whose pit crew it was on last week. They showed and it was right center in their
On their
chest.
chest, yeah. I was gonna say that too. I'm glad you brought it up. Some of them have it on their chest. Hendricks, Gibbs, those guys tend to have it on their chest. I don't understand. I don't really like that because at least the way I change tires, right? Like I'm pulling and like I'm dragging stuff across me. And so like I could see myself knocking that off, but maybe if you practice with it, you get used to it there. But yeah, I know Gibbs and Hendricks has that. I think Gibbs even has a light on their chest, like their Iron Man or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no.
I mean, that's that. I think I think I could
How'd
get
you
that
get one of
shame.
those? Wait a minute, how'd you get one of those?
We don't ask questions.
Oh goodness. You gotta know some people. No, I'm just
I
kidding. But yeah, go
I
ahead.
I knew a guy.
I got you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I don't even have one of those. I may have to talk to your guy, but anyway, go ahead. What were you saying?
Uh, uh, I think we're gonna go over to Brandon.
Yeah.
Just on your routine. As far as emergencies and all that good stuff. You don't get to work on them, but we had kidded you just a couple weeks ago about being able to do a belly flop modification or a junior super fly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
It helps to understand the car. So for example, it at dang, where were we? Phoenix, I guess. I was changing on the 92 car, Xfinity car, and smacks the outside wall. And this being my first race back, this was admittedly an error on my part. But when I pulled that tire off, I was looking up at the fender braces and stuff because the hood had come up, the fender was bashed in a little bit. And I was like, okay, I'm going to jump up there and body slam the hood back down and try before we get some bare bond on it. And I missed that the shock was hanging off. So the right front shock had gotten knocked off in the wreck. And that's those things that I normally would have caught, but I had that was my first when I was Atlanta. So it was my first race of the year. And I hadn't pit a live race NASCAR stop since July the year before, last year. So, should I have forgotten to check that? No, I definitely would have had I, been more in practice. But little things like that, you have to catch. And I was just looking at the wrong thing. But when I went back to look at my film, that's when I caught it. And so, either way, that's what's important is if to me a pit guy has to understand the car. Now, on the Cup side, like you said, he's not the toe link guy, but there is a guy that can put that toe link back on a whole lot faster than the pit guy can because it's not the pit guy doesn't do it 100 times a day. That guy does. So, that's a different situation, but for damage repair and control and stuff like that, a pit guy's got to know what he's looking at. And I've seen a car hit, and it needs the top half of the bumper cut off. We're at Richmond, I think, where aero is not a huge deal. And pit guy goes in there, and we won't talk about what car it was, but he goes in there with a Sawzall and cuts the damn radiator in half because he doesn't understand the radiator's right behind that bumper. You can't go cutting super deep in there, Yeah. And, had he maybe had some experience in the shop, he might have thought about those things. When you're putting bare bond on the car, it's not just slapping bare bond on. Like, you got to be careful about covering up the radiator ducts, the brake ducts. You can't bare bond your hood flaps down, things like that. You have to understand that this thing needs to be back in a respectable shape, but it can't have pieces flying off of it. You can't, alter the way the thing functions, especially in the safety department. And that's valuable. And I think that's where if you want to call it the old school way of doing things has kind of been lost on is there's a guy for everything in the big teams, but these smaller teams, you know, they don't have those guys. So that pig guy got to be able to pick up that slack. Otherwise, you can cut your radiator in half and ruin your whole race instead of getting back out there and finishing 19th because there's a big wreck at the end. You know, uh, that's just how the thing goes. And you know, IMSA side, a lot of those guys that there is no, say in like a Michelin Pilot race, which is the best comparison is that you have the WeatherTech series, which is like your 24-hour Rolex Daytona series, you know, and then Michelin Pilot is like your Xfinity. So you'd have like WeatherTech, which is like Cup for NASCAR, and Michelin Pilot would be comparable to Xfinity. So in a Michelin Pilot team, depending on the team, there's usually not a guy for everything. Their pit stops are not as grueling and demanding as NASCAR's are. So those guys typically have a corner of the car that they know. Hell, there's a guy on the Mustangs that I pit that he knows just about everything in the car, you know. But he also changes front tires. So
Well, I'm guessing on your Mustang, there's not a Sawzall coming anywhere close to that car.
it depends. It's not too far off from NASCAR in that respect. I mean, if you knock the fender way in, that thing, you're not going to be able to bend it back out, then you might cut it off. You know, it's a
I would damn near cry.
Yeah. I wouldn't be. I have not had to do it, thank God. But I wouldn't want to cut that thing up either. It's a pretty car.
Yeah.
But they're also expensive. I think I don't know what a Cup car is going for these days. I know Xfinity isn't quite as expensive as a GT4 Mustang, but those cars run about $320,000. So,
Oh yeah.
you think about a lot of these race teams are what they call customer racing on that end, and that's more or less a race team that buys a factory car, you know, from Ford or from Chevrolet or Cadillac, and they would that car is now theirs. They own it, but it's homologated, which is a fancy term for it's stuck into a group of a rules package, basically.
I like that. Homologated.
And so that's they're homologated to compete in a specific series. Or really, the GT4 is just for road racing in general. So it's used in Euro Series. It's used in DPH. No, I forget the. There's several other, you know, World Endurance Championship, IMSA. It's used a lot of different places. Whereas like NASCAR, those cars are only ever used for NASCAR. You know, unless it's like running a vintage series after it's no longer relevant, becomes obsolete. But yeah, it's a complicated thing.
We're running Le Mans.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Letting the eagle fly.
Hey Brandon, I want to take you guys a little show over and stuff like that because
Yeah.
I do have a couple of questions for you. Well, one thing I want to say is, man, freaking congrats on getting an opportunity with college racing. You know, it's I don't know if were you on the 10 or the which car were
The
you on?
11.
The 11. Gosh, finished second place a lot with Justin Haley in that car. Goodness grief, bad memories maybe, but there was a quote in the hauler. I
Definitely sounds, man.
I don't know if they still have the quote, but it says "Make it a great day."
Yes, still have it.
That always stuck with me, man. But like, first of all, how do you feel about that? Because we talked about some opportunities on the show you was on with myself, Courtney, and Cam. Like, how do you feel about that opportunity? Because would you say, I don't know, man. Because I mean, we've done a lot of deals in our lifetime as a changer, you and I both. But like, was that like your first like major deal? Like, as in like the lug nuts are fresh, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
Yeah, in the sense of, in some sense, I guess. So when we were with Clements last year,
Mhm.
they took a lot of care in their program.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the 11 car is definitely easier to pick for sure. Or not easier is not the word. it's more tailored, I guess, than the 51 would be, and that's just a manpower and finances thing, that you're going to have that in racing. But yeah, I mean, when I was asleep Saturday morning, and when I woke up, I had a text from Jeremy Turner, and he said call me, so called him, and he's like, Richie called, from Trackhouse, and he's like they need a guy like now. I'm like, what time is it? I'm looking at my watch, and he's like, how fast can you get to Bristol? I'm like, man, it's 10. I could get there, within plenty of time to, prepare for the race and everything. And he was like, well, no, actually, he just said you're getting the plane takes off at 1. I was like, okay, great. So that gives me plenty of time. So I got ready and everything. And he's like, yeah, it's the 11 car. I was I'm not gonna lie. Normally, like, so probably 2 years ago, I would have been thrilled, like over the moon, excited, and I was excited because, yeah, I mean, to be on the opportunity to just to fit that car for one day, is that the visuals, the scope, where you are, somebody's always watching, and that's a big thing. If you're put in that situation, then you have to perform, and if you don't, that's all anyone's going to talk about, and I know that, in my specific situation, there's a couple people that watch and are just waiting, on something to go wrong. And I guess in that aspect, I was excited just to go out there and kind of display that, I can go do this deal and not mess it up for these guys. And so I saw it as a big opportunity to take advantage of, that's a team that is very well prepared. They would probably tell you otherwise, but they're very well prepared. And even, going back to the Packers, I hate Packers. I see them in my nightmares. But we had
my body, yeah, like I get it.
yeah.
Okay.
So we've had, and I know you've probably done the same thing. I've had to take Packers out of a shock in the middle of a pit stop with pliers before. Like that's just because the team wasn't prepared for that particular adjustment to be fast or anything, and that's just that's what you have with the smaller teams. There's nothing against them. It's just how they operate within that, because NASCAR's a weekly thing. It is. People don't realize how much of a crunch and a grind that is. And having 10 people in a shop versus 100 makes a massive difference. And so when they told me to grab the green Packer, I was like, sweet. So it's colored. So I already know which one I'm looking for. I can grab it quicker. And then the crew chief climbs off the box and shows me a picture they took before the race. And there's 4 different Packers in there, all color coded with long straps. And I was pumped, man. I was like, this is going to be the fastest Packer removal I've ever done in my life. So, yeah, jumped over the wall. As soon as I pull the tire out, just reach in there and grab it and yank. You didn't even have to really look at it. It's bright green, So, whereas in the past, I've been used to like pulling the tire and having to give it a look and a pause and make sure I'm grabbing the right one, because you don't want to pull 3 out of there on accident, grabbing the strap in the wrong place, because then you're pushing the splitter around the track and now you've screwed your race. So, little things like that. The team was very well prepared. We get kind of off on a tangent now, but I think the biggest part for me was I kind of started getting the nerves again. And I'm like, man, like it's just pit stops, like I just had to keep telling myself, like, it's just a pit stop. You've done 100,000 of them. Like, just go change the tires. Like, doesn't have to be super fast. My goal wasn't to go out there and be super fast. I just didn't want to mess it up for them, and because in turn that would have messed it up for me. So, understanding that, because I mean, with the 51 last year, we've come down pit road leading races, and it was nothing pressure wise that I wasn't already familiar with, but it's the scope of it, that scope kind of it adds more stake to it, and so I was excited to be there, and I'm happy that it went well. I a minor hiccup. Almost had a hanger, but I did go back and hit it because I had hit. It was the very first stop. Right side came off clean, fast, buttoned it up fast. I was like, this is good. Got around the car and dove in on the left side. And that 9 o'clock lug, man, I hit it on the off pattern. I hit it, it didn't come off. So after I hit the fifth one, went back and hit it again, and it didn't move again. So I went to go grab and had to go back to the gun and hit again a third time, and it finally came off. So that slowed me down big time. But luckily, I guess for me, it was the Packer stop, so they were already expecting me to be a bit behind. So that hiccup, I was kind of disappointed in myself in. But we come down for the second stop, and it went smooth, So it was a good day, all in all. I didn't want to highlight it too much before I went out there. I feel like there is and I'm sure you've probably experienced this too. I think pretty much everybody has. There's almost like a karma system with NASCAR and racing. It's like if you go into something talking trash about how good you are, you're going to screw it up. When I had my first loose wheel and my only loose wheel ever, I had just spent that whole week at practice talking about how I've never had a loose wheel, right? And you go into the weekend and you have, that's how it works. They call it the NASCAR curse.
Dude, I'm sorry. I have to pause, man, because we talked about it on the show, man. It was like, man, I ain't never got hit, man. I can avoid it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get hit. I go from Atlanta, and David Reagan drove straight through Charlie planking me. So I've learned to shut my mouth too. So
Yep.
it's funny that you say that because it's like, dude, man, golly, just the sport will humble you. It will really, even if you don't talk trash, like something will happen, and it's like fudge. Because I mean, I've never said it, but like I've never had a loose wheel 5 lug. But I
Yeah.
was like, I'm still doing good, man. I mean, I have the loose wheels in my head. I'm like, all right, go out there in Dover and the wheel falls off on the 16 car. And so it's like, this is 1 lug now. I'm talking here. And it happened twice, but it's like that one really hurt because it's like, dang, dude. Like it didn't even make it barrel off a pit road. And I'm like, is this what it's like to have a loose wheel and then get
It's
suspended and fined for it?
miserable feeling. It is a miserable feeling.
Bro. And then with stock car now, like with stock car, with Cup now, like NASCAR's made it a way where it really just hits you hard. Because I mean, at that time, they were taking guys out for a month, suspending you, the jackman, and the crew chief. So it's like not only because usually it's like, okay, if I got a loose wheel, it's just me.
Yeah.
Right? But like now, man, it's like you're involving other people. It's like you're taking food off of their table, and it's like good googly moogly. You know what I mean? It's just, gosh, man. But I'm with you on that karma thing, dude. I was like, all right, let me shut up. I don't want to get hit again. So,
Yep. Yeah, that Saturday on the ride up to the plane and the plane ride there, and the whole time I was at the track before the race, I just didn't say a word. I didn't think nothing, just get prepared for it, and just kept telling myself it's just pit stops, just go do the pit stop and you'll be fine. So just it was good for me to do that and spiritually as well, because this struggle this past 5 or 6 months has been tough. Trying to come to terms with this will be my first year. I'm not full time in almost 7 years, so seeing all my friends out there still grinding away, still doing it week in and week out. You want to be proud for them and be happy for them, see them winning races and stuff. And it sucks because you can't help but go back and think like, what could I have done differently? And I know what I could have done differently. Had I done it, I could have been in those situations, but like they say, comparison is the thief of joy. And I've wrestled with that a lot here lately, so, and I know that, so it's getting over that has been not it hasn't been hard to come to kind of give myself a little bit of peace over it, but it takes like having a race like this past weekend, knowing that I could go out there and I could compete at that level and be comfortable and not mess the race up for those guys, because that was the big thing, was not it's always not messing up the race for the team, because as soon as you start thinking about me, that's when you start running into issues that a lot of guys do. They're more focused about themselves and on themselves than they are the team, and they forget it's a team sport, So yeah, I don't know. It's I enjoyed it. Hopefully, the next call will be better. Maybe they can look. Maybe people can, in good places, look at what I was able to do there. Because like I said, I wasn't going. I didn't line to set the world on fire or anything. I just went out there to do my job, and that was it. So maybe that'll pay off. Maybe it won't. We'll see.
Yeah, that's awesome. It was good seeing that too, man, because we came in at the same time, and it was a grind. Not everybody sees what we do behind closed doors, and I'm not saying the world owes it to us, but it's just good to see that and see the hard work pay off. I don't care if it's one shot, it can lead to other things down the road. I mean, I even have that testimony. It was one shot for me, right, that led down to where, basically where I am now. So just never know, man. You really never know. You really never know. So I love it. I love it. I definitely wanted to ask you about it. So yeah,
Yeah, we're proud of both of you guys.
thank you. Yes, sir.
I know Keaston's got to get off. Brandon, I don't know if you're staying for the end of the show, or if you're gonna end up getting off too. But I want to thank you both for coming on tonight, and you guys are welcome to come on anytime. Just let us know, and hopefully we'll be able to see you guys at the track this season.
Hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Most certainly. If you're down in the pits, you'll run into us. Don't be strangers,
That they won't be.
Well, the only chance that I'm gonna see Keaston at the racetrack is at Michigan.
Michigan, yeah.
If I don't see him at Michigan, I'll see him in Charlotte when we're there.
You know where to find me. Find a Team Penske hauler. I'll be wandering around there somewhere, trying to figure out where tires are, where the food is,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But anyway, and you too, Dave. Like, I mean, we'd love to see you as well, like down there if you can. So yeah, man.
And most definitely, I plan on catching up with you when Bobby makes it down to our area.
Okay, and that's remind me where it's what
September 13th to the 21st.
Yeah.
I'll shoot you a jingle.
Okay,
when we get down there.
I might use that one.
You on the bed? You on the bed?
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, again, thanks for having me too, man. So it's always fun.
Say hi.
Well, hi, Phil. What's up? What's up? Got that crazy hair going tonight.
Yeah.
Look like Daddy after he got out of the shower.
Yeah. Like you headed to bed. All right, give me a hug.
That's awesome, man. All right.
Good night, buddy.
All right, Keaston. Well, we'll catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, man. Yeah, don't be strangers. Reach out.
Yeah, no problem, man.
I ain't hard to find. That's what Dion.
No, you're not.
All right, guys. Later. See you, Brandon.
All right, see ya.
See you, man.
All right, so great interview as usual. Want to thank Keaston. Brandon, thank you for coming on.
Oh. Yeah. Come on, we need the 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, he's trying. Say hi one more time. God, the hair, Jesus.
The hair's like poof.
Yeah, it's not going down.
Oh, got that little alfalfa.
Say good night. Say good night.
Night night.
Good night.
Come on, buddy.
Mama.
Come on.
But so Want to say thank you to Brandon. Want to say thank you to Keyston. Dave, thank you for coming on tonight with us.
That's my job. I'm here.
I still appreciate it.
These guys change tires. I do a mediocre podcast every other week.
Yep. And I appreciate Rob very much. I know he's watching.
We got every
if you-
small creature in the house.
Well, that almost just looks like the cat I had on my lap.
Yeah, I saw that. I was going to make a comment about that.
So just an FYI, everybody. So we do have the big stickers and the little stickers left. $8 and $4. Dave, I actually have two of these for you in case I make a mistake.
Well, I actually found one. I had found one.
All right.
So
Well,
just in case,
well, okay. So we got three of them. We'll be okay.
if we can mess up twice.
So there's my mom in the comments. It's her birthday today, by the way.
Well, happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday. If you guys can get a hold of Anna Amore Designs, she has been doing some awesome stuff lately. She's got these binders or journals that she just did. Came out really nice. She's got those for, I believe, $25. And there's like, I want to say there's like 200 pages in that thing. So if you guys need anything, blankets, koozies, cups, whatever it may be, get a hold of her. We're gonna be selling T-shirts, doing pre-sales for our 100th episode through Anna. So once those get posted, we'll be able to do pre-sales. Go ahead and check out the Racing Warehouse for Jeremy Clements sheet metal or any sheet metal. They have the number 51 side from Martinsville, and that
They got
thing's
the hot
pretty cool
dog.
looking.
They got that hot dog.
Got the hot dog. Also check out Armadillo Apparel for your sweatshirts. Dave's got one on the sweatshirt. I've got the
Yeah.
polo, the hats. We're gonna be selling some new Area 51 crew shirts, Brandon.
Now I got
Go
the
ahead and
OG.
do what?
I got the OG. I'm good.
Yeah, you do. Don't forget to go to circlebdiecast.com and use Area 51 on as your discount code for $6 off shipping. If you guys have not, go hit those Jeremy Clements cars up for the Harrison throwback. They are still on pre-sale.
Yeah, we gotta hit a quota to get a pre-order in. So let's make that happen. That's a special car.
Yes, sir. Also check out Benzik Designs. He has an Etsy page. And he is the 124th, 118th, 164th diecast display stands partner for Area 51. If you use the discount code Area 51, you get 20% off your order. I know that Adrian and I just ordered quite a few more. Also, if you're interested in purchasing any of Kylie Glick's merchandise, please go to Kylie Glick Racing's Facebook page and click the link for her new merchandise post. And to be honest, I believe Kylie's our next guest next Tuesday. It'll be episode 67.
Yep.
It's going to be all about Kylie and her family. Also, please make sure that you like our YouTube page, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's one thing we are kind of slacking on is subscribers. Also, I believe the 29th, right, Dave? The bumper is going to be drawn. So we got that Jeremy Clements bumper. Tickets are $25 for one or two for $45, and we are sitting at 30 people so far.
Yep, and me and Bob were talking about we'll repost it again this week just to refresh everybody's memory.
Yep. Brandon, you got anything before we thank all of our sponsors?
No, I think I'm good. I'm gonna keep posting up my pit stop videos. So if you got any interest in watching tires be changed the exact same way 100 million times, and you can go watch that.
Say what, dude? I was still asking you last night. And I appreciate you getting back with me. But I watch them all the time, just about every one you post, and it seems like every single one of them is different one way or another. And I'm like, all right, this time he looks like he got stuck on this one because he usually goes, left to right or right to left, and and I'm like, all right, So I don't want to say I'm critiquing, but I've seen enough of them so far that
Critique all you want. That's how we grow.
well, I told you, man, you were blistering fast. You said that was the second stop. I think you did a hell of a job.
It was good. Yeah, appreciate that.
So, want to give a shout out to all of our partners who make the podcast possible: Spartan Waste, Fox Sports Spartanburg, Harrison's, Action RV, Kylie Glick Racing, Matman Designs, The Runner's Roost, Alliance Driveway Solutions, Anna Moore Designs, Circle B Diecast, Driven Sunglasses and Driven Trackside, Elite Towing and Recovery, High Speed Auto, Booze Pops, The Racing Warehouse and Armadillo Apparel, Belcher Cheesecake Company, Fly Inform Concrete Structures, First Pacific Funding, Surefit Companies, Gale Beard Products, and while I said Gale, don't forget to go get that Gale beard product, guys, because I just ordered my stash and the guy's seeing it. And I'm fully loaded again. So now all I can say is Gale.
Golly.
Christ.
Brandon's like, Lord help us.
Oh, to Amanda on YouTube, you can so if you look up the Pit Marine, which is my username basically everywhere. TikTok is where I post most of the pit stop videos. That's where they have the most success. So I post them up on there so people can watch them. But if you follow me on there, yeah, that's where a majority of them are. You can probably scroll for a year and not run out of pit stops. So, but there's also a lot of my buddies that change tires. From the cup level down are on TikTok as well. You just gotta find them.
Yeah, I think what makes yours interesting is just the variety that you've been able to do within the last year. Kind of, I don't want to say freshened it up because we'd like to see you, in one place all year. But at the same point in time, being able to see you change, lugs on that Mustang and, what was it, the BMW?
Yeah.
that was different, man. That was cool. You don't realize how hot they come in there, and
Oh yeah.
you just make it look like butter like normal.
I enjoy the variety. I do. I don't like the variety on the NASCAR side because I do like to stick with one team in that fashion. But being able to pit the BMWs and the Mustangs is really cool. So hopefully I can get some more diversity there when it comes to the racing, actual different racing disciplines. Maybe dabble in some modified soon or something. We'll see.
So I'm gonna finish this off real quick. We got Wings Etc. Dialed in Focus Pouches by Whitetail Smokeless, which I need to get a hold of them so I can actually get some of those. What is that?
They actually they send me the rack dry pouches because I'm addicted to these, and they know I like them, so they still send them to me, and I love what they do. That's them, Rob and
Amber.
not Amber, her sister, but
Abby.
Amber too. Amber and Abby. I always get them mixed up. Jesus, they would hate that. But yeah, they send me those whenever I run out. So they stopped sending me just the little the cans and started sending me pouches. So thank you to them for that. I love these. They have options for if you're trying to stop nicotine, which I do probably twice a year. Then they have options where they don't have nicotine in them, and they're great. So
Awesome. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get into those. Benzik Designs. I can never say this, so I'm just gonna say Lee Seniors Landscaping, Enigma Tattoo, Aero Parts Group, and then Jeremy Clements and Jeremy Clements Racing. I can't thank you guys enough for everything that you guys do. Brandon, thank you for all the intros and the exits. We greatly appreciate it.
yes, sir.
And one of these days we'll get it to where I can just click a video and it goes right down the list of all the sponsors, and then it goes right into the video, the end video, and we'll be done. Because it never fails. These guys catch me all the time. I'll be saying it and I'll screw it up somehow, some way. So, but with that being said, y'all have a good night, and we will catch you guys next week. Actually, you guys will see Rob tomorrow night, and then Rob on Sunday or Monday, and then episode 67 will be on Tuesday at 8 p.m., 5 p.m. Pacific time, and then 7 p.m. Central.
Yep.
So, with that being said, y'all have a good night, and we will see you guys next week.
Yeah, see you guys.
All right. We will see you guys next week. Dave, it was a pleasure as usual. And we will talk to you guys next Tuesday.